Hello Capricorn, and welcome to my channel Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs, looking at your recent past, your current energy, and your immediate future in love, asking the question, what do you need to know right now in order to move forward and attract the love that you are truly deserving of? This is my first time ever doing this spread on my channel, so I'm very excited about it. Same thing as all of my readings, I've pulled the overall energy and clarified those messages, as well as the overall theme of the reading, which we'll jump into in just a second. I have the tarot deck I'll be using, and then the clarification and the advice deck that I'll be using to close out the reading in the extended. Any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading with me is in the description box below. Last thing, please remember, as always, these are general readings. They are not here to resonate fully for everyone, and they won't resonate fully for everyone. So do please remember to take what does resonate and helps your personal situation, and leave what does not. All right, Capricorn. So the way that this is really kind of going down is we're looking at what is your past experience in love. Maybe it is recent, maybe it's further back. It just kind of depends on the timeline for you. How has that past experience affected you in your current energy, and what blockages are coming up in order for you to attract the love that you deserve? And then what do you need to know as you move forward in order to attract the love that you deserve? So that's the breakdown. We're going to go ahead and jump in. In your recent past, or in your past energy, you have the rest in peace energy with the Justice in reverse. I feel as if you've experienced at least one major, maybe several failed relationships. And with the Justice in reverse, it feels as if you are consistently getting screwed over, almost as if every time you enter into a connection, you end up with the short end of the stick. And you probably have started to believe that you can never have the love that you deserve and desire. All men, all women are the same. Relationships always end in in heartbreak. Just whatever beliefs you've acquired make a lot of sense based on what it is that you've been through. However, we do have to remember that what we believe is the experience that we ultimately have in our life. Now, in your current energy, you have habits with the Three of Pentacles in reverse. So this habits card to me is kind of the indication, oh, my earring's falling off, of a cycle that's being repeated. Something that, maybe attracting a similar kind of person into your life, or, maybe because of a past heartbreak, you've kind of shut yourself off from love. Either way, with the Three of Pentacles in reverse, it feels as if the pieces just aren't coming together for you. And it feels as if, maybe every time you feel hope in love, or there's a fresh start, things end up disappointing in the end. So the goal is, what do we need to figure out so that we can break yourself out of that? Because in your immediate future, I actually took both these cards because they came out and they seemed like they were both relevant. You have change with the Death and the Wheel of Fortune. Now, all three of these cards mean change in some sort of way. Now, the Death card can be the ending to a cycle, an ending of the old way of doing things, an old way of thinking, an old way of behaving. And the Wheel of Fortune is, positive change. The wheels kind of turning in your favor, tables turning, things of that nature. However, the way that I'm reading this message is, in order to get this Wheel of Fortune, so the love that you desire is possible, you can attract it, the wheel can turn in your favor. There is a cycle that needs to close out in your love life. There are changes maybe in your approach, in your perspective. I'm not sure. This is just kind of the overall energy. We will jump into it as we keep moving forward. But the overall theme you have is healing family issues. This is a perfect card, I feel, for this reading, because it says your love life benefits as you forgive your parents. I hate to be cliche, but if you know me, then you know that I talk a lot about this. Our relationships and how we experience love in adulthood is going to be directly correlated to what we've learned about love throughout our childhood, and in particular from our parents or caregivers when we were younger. And the love that we didn't receive, even if you can look back and you can say that your parents did the best they could, it doesn't mean that they can both have done the best they could and their decisions still have affected you. So, looking back, the love that you didn't receive when you were a child, we will often search for in our relationships in adulthood. And those cycles actually will start to repeat. So if we feel unlovable or not good enough or undervalued in our relationships, because that's what we learned about in our earliest forms of love, we will actually consistently put ourselves in cycles that make us feel that exact same way as what we experienced in our childhood. And our relationship with our youngest experience of love will directly kind of become the foundation for our relationships in adulthood. And we won't realize how much that affects us unless, we kind of bring our awareness to it. So, I'm going to talk about some deep stuff today in this first spread. So let's start by looking at your recent past, Capricorn. You have rest in peace with the Justice in reverse. What is Capricorn's past experience in love? What does Capricorn need to know about this past experience in love? It feels like, so the Nine of Pentacles with the Hermit in reverse. It feels like the love that you truly desire has always been very out of reach. Even if you were like in a long-term relationship or in a marriage, or you were dating around or whatever the case is, I feel like it feels as if the love that you truly desire never has fully come to fruition. Maybe you've seen glimpses of it in people, but it feels as if on a sustainable level, you've never really truly gotten to experience that. And because of that, I feel like you've stopped believing in it. And you've stopped believing that you can have it. Completely normal, completely natural, right? When we experience failed relationships or we really put ourselves out there and it ends up getting us hurt, we are naturally going to internalize this belief that I'm never going to have what it is that I desire and love. There's no point because I'm always going to end up hurt. And although that isn't inherently true, it will become true for you, because our reality and what we experience is going to be a direct reflection of these beliefs that we acquire. Now, the hard part about that is that the beliefs that we acquire are going to be a direct result of the experiences that we have. So when we go through relationships starting in childhood, we start to attain these beliefs about ourselves. I'm unlovable, I'm not good enough, love always fails, and we internalize these beliefs as truths. They become our personal truths. They become the way that we interact with the world, which is going to be the reality that we create. 95% of your movements, choices, and decisions stem from your subconscious. Only 5% of the way that you interact with your reality is conscious level decision making. So much of the way that we behave is actually a result of these beliefs that have been buried within us. So that's not saying that what you've attracted is your fault, because your trauma is not your fault. It's not your fault that you've been through failed relationships. It's not your fault that people have hurt you. But if you want things to change, you have to be willing to become aware of these things and take accountability for what you can change in order to change the outcome. What else does Capricorn need to know about their past experience in love? This could also be this feeling of feeling as if you had found what you desired, but then it ended up not being that too. There's a perspective shift that's needed. I don't feel you fully realize that you're stuck in a cycle. I don't feel that you truly, maybe you're not aware, maybe you are aware, but you're not seeing what needs to do to change the cycle, because this Nine of Wands in reverse is an indication of a cycle that needs to close, but can't. It's which is, look at that, Ace of Pentacles in reverse, which is blocking you from the opportunity to have what it is that you desire with the Nine of Cups, Ace of Pentacles in reverse, Nine of Cups. So I feel like what this is about is the universe isn't saying, no, you can't have the love that you desire. The universe is saying there are certain things that need to be learned, that need to be healed, that need to be addressed before you are going to be able to fully attract that love into your life. Now, that's not saying that you need to be more healed in order to be lovable, or that you need to be more, that you need to grow more in order to believe you are deserving of love. It means that you don't believe those things for yourself, and there are certain experiences that you're needing to go through to realize that you are deserving of the love that you truly desire. However, you have these healing family issues that's kind of blocking things from you here and keeping you stuck in a cycle. It's almost as if you keep repeating this belief that you are unlovable, or that you're not valuable, or that you're not good enough. We often also might repeat the relationships that our parents have. There's so much, our foundation for what we come to believe about love is shaped in our earlier years, and we have to learn to redefine what love really means for us, so that we are not attracting generational cycles, but we are actually attracting what is meant for us and for our soul. I hope that's making sense. So let's see, current energy for Capricorn. What do you need to know about your current energy here? Current energy for Capricorn. Seven of Cups, Ace of Wands in reverse. So there's a part of you that deeply desires love. I mean, on some level, we all desire to be unconditionally loved and accepted for who we are, and to have that kind of connection. But on the surface, it might be really hard for us to understand what that really looks like. And I feel like that's kind of this energy of what you're dealing with. You're like, I crave this love, to be loved, to be accepted unconditionally, but I don't actually know what that's like because I've never truly experienced it. And that's what makes it so hard, right? You can say that in any kind of aspect of your life. When you're trying to manifest something good that you're desiring of, you are not going to understand what that looks like because you've never experienced it. So if you're used to experiencing poverty, the idea of wealth, it's like, yeah, you want that, but you don't actually know what that looks like because you've never experienced it. Yeah, you want this unconditional love, you want a partner, but you're having such a hard time knowing what that's like, what that truly would look like. So what keeps happening is you keep looking for it in what is familiar. And that is where this cycle repeats. We actually often don't have a type. We actually have a trauma-induced cycle. And when we attract the same thing over and over again, and we experience the same kind of endings, whether it's in one person or in different people from our past, we experience getting cheated on over and over again, or we experience attracting emotionally unavailable people, or people that end up leaving us for whatever reason. That is not an indication of what you are fated or destined to experience in love. That is an indication of a trauma-induced cycle that you keep repeating because it is familiar. Our ego, our nervous system, prefers what is familiar. It prefers to keep you in places that feel safe and predictable. And when we are doing that, we don't even really realize that what we're searching for, which is unconditional love, is going to be impossible to find when we are repeating cycles. So the question is, what can you do to make sure that you don't repeat these cycles? Because you have this habits, repeating the same mistakes over and over again. Maybe it's trying to attract emotionally unavailable people and change them into something different. Maybe it's chasing after love instead of allowing love to come to you. Maybe it is allowing yourself to get stuck into third-party situations where you're not being chosen. Now, third-party situations doesn't just mean with other people. It can also mean where someone is prioritizing work or friends, or not that prioritizing friendships is a bad thing in relationships, but like where you are not a priority in the other person's life, but you continue to stay and invest out of hopes that one day you'll get chosen. There are so many different things that we can repeat in our relationships that actually keep us from being able to experience the love that we truly deserve. So on some level, Capricorn, it's like, yes, you desire this love that you truly want, but you haven't really taken the time to figure out what that genuinely looks like for you. And not in terms of what someone looks like or how they act, but in terms of how somebody makes you feel. You have to get so in tune with what it is that you wish to feel in your experience so that you know what is and isn't meant for you. Because what you don't wish to feel is screwed over, underloved, undervalued, underappreciated. What you do wish to feel is the opposite of all of those things, yet you keep repeating experiences that make you feel the other way. What else? So there are some habits that you have here in your relationships that have been repeating, And those habits need to be broken because they keep leading you to this disappointment here. I feel as if one of the biggest habits you have, so you have the 5 of Cups, the 10 of Cups in reverse, and the Queen of Cups, is searching for potential in someone. You know, I have been guilty many times in my past experiences in my love life of trying to change people, of getting into a relationship with someone who is good enough and trying to turn that relationship into something that actually makes me feel loved and like I'm with the person that is meant for me. When we invest in people for the potential of what that person could be, instead of being honest with ourselves about who they are today, like in this moment, then what we are actually doing is investing in someone that doesn't exist, first of all. Because the potential you see in someone is merely a reflection of the potential you see in yourself, okay? It's not actually their potential. And second of all, when we are trying to change somebody else, there's a part of us that's trying to fix ourselves through them. So one of the things that you have to learn not to do, and this is hard, but you have to be so willing to allow yourself to take people as they are. Taking people as they are allows you to say, this is this is where this person is at, this is what they're capable of, and this is what they're showing me. You know, whether it is lack of communication, lack of vulnerability, lack of, emotional connection, whatever the case might be. And you need to say, instead of trying to force this person to change, I'm going to set my boundaries. I'm going to say what I need. This is what I need. This is what I require in love. And if that person doesn't meet you there, then there is something about that connection that isn't truly meant for you on a deeper level. But the problem is that we often approach love from a lack mentality. So we have this potential to say, if this doesn't work, then I might never have the love that I truly desire. I might never get what it is that I truly want. So we become disappointed when we are not able to change somebody. And in that moment, we are both pushing away the love that we truly desire because we're investing in trying to change something into something it's not. That is, I would say, probably the number one way that we set ourselves up for heartbreak. And it's because we believe that, love is something that is hard to find. It only comes around once in a lifetime. And we have this idea of real true love. You can't find that, that isn't a real thing. The love that you experience in this life with the people around you, your romantic relationships, your friendships, that is literally just a direct result and reflection of the love within you. There is not a lack of love. There is not a limit to the level of love that you are capable of experiencing in this life. You have created that mentality because of how you have lacked love in the past. So it's understandable and it's natural for you to believe that. But when we are looking for the potential of somebody to love us in the way that we deserve, we are essentially investing in somebody who is literally not capable of doing that. And when we repeat that habit over and over, we are on some level proving to ourselves, I can't have the love that I deserve and desire. See, look at all of this proof that says that that is the case, when in reality, all we're doing is coming from that belief in the first place. It's kind of a catch-22. So getting, real with yourself about the role that you play and what you allow and accept into your life, maybe for the sake of, because I have strong feelings for this person and I have such a deep, passionate connection to them. That, first of all, will eventually wear off. That is not a sustainable long-term connection. That intensity, that passion, that goes away. That's not what true love is about. True love is about creating an emotional connection developed with trust and empathy and mutual understanding and mutual willingness to grow. And that's what we're ultimately looking for. We're looking for a partner in this life, someone who is willing to show up for us just as much as we're willing to show up for them. But yet we continue to attract people into our life that don't show up in the way that we expect or desire or deserve, and then try to change them because we think that if we don't change them, then we can't have what we want. Now, where does that stem from? What are you trying to change about the partners or partner that you attract into your life that you didn't get in childhood? How are you trying to prove to somebody that you are trying to change that you are lovable and that you are deserving? And how is that directly reflected to a situation that you experienced when you were a child? Because that is where the healing is trying to take place. That right there is the root of the cycle. Current energy for Capricorn. Yeah, because right now, the Two of Wands in reverse with the Tower, anything that isn't truly aligned with your soul is going to fall apart. So when you attract things from this place of needing something to make you feel lovable and needing something to change to make you feel deserving, you are inherently coming from this place of feeling unlovable and undeserving. And that will be directly reflected back at you. That will not be sustainable. It will fall apart and you will continue to perpetuate that cycle. So let's get honest with ourselves about what we can do and how we can change our approach. I look back, I will be the first to say I've had a lot of failed relationships. I've been in a lot of relationships, and I can tell you that 99% of the reasons that those relationships failed, regardless of whether or not I was a victim in certain situations, were my fault. And I'm not saying that to say it was all me, but I'm the common denominator in my failed relationships. You are the common denominator in the relationships that you've experienced. And that doesn't take the blame away from what other people have done to you. Okay, yes, you've been screwed over. Yes, people have treated you poorly. But what were you looking for in that experience that you are ultimately looking to give yourself? We often look for the love of other people when really we're lacking that love for ourselves. And when we see that potential and we love someone despite their flaws, that's us just trying to love ourselves despite our flaws. Instead of directing that energy to ourselves, though, we're looking at it through the lens of other people. So right now, you keep attracting love that doesn't align with your highest good, which is why those connections continue to fall apart. So, question moving forward, how can you change that? How can we, because ending this cycle, closing out this cycle will lead to the positive changes, but you have to be willing to make those changes, and you first have to be willing to take some accountability for the role that you've played. I've been in emotionally abusive relationships. I've been in relationships where I was treated so insanely poorly, but at the end of the day, I can only take accountability for the role that I played. I showed up. I stayed. I allowed myself to be in these connections because I didn't think I could have anything better. I don't blame myself for that. I don't shame myself. I did for a while, but I've healed those parts of myself and understand that in every situation that I was in, I was just looking to be loved. I just didn't know how to go about doing that because I had never really experienced what unconditional love actually meant. So when we get real with ourselves about what it is we're really looking for, we stop accepting things that don't align with our value and our worth and ultimately what it is that we desire. So what does Capricorn need to know moving forward? What does Capricorn need to know moving forward in order to close out this cycle? I encourage you, so the Empress in reverse, the High Priestess, and the Sun, to look at why you believe that sacrificing your needs and your value and accepting less than what you deserve is a requirement in order for you to be happy and loved. Because this isn't just about, doing these, this isn't just about doing these things like consciously. Like, you're not making these decisions from a place of, I am going to sacrifice my value and my worth because that means that I'm going to receive the love. Obviously, that's not your thought process. So there is something going on within you. How have you been taught that your needs are a burden? How have you been taught that you are more valuable when you aren't setting boundaries and when you don't have needs and desires? How have you been taught that other people's needs and desires are more important than your own? And looking at those things can help you understand how you've learned to understand where you get love. When we're a kid, we're kind of taught that being compliant and, I feel like society tends to teach kids being compliant and always doing what authority wants you to do and what other people expect of you. That's what gets you love and praise and validation, right? So when we grow up, we learn that our needs are or that our ability to be loved and experience that validation is 100% dependent on our ability to meet somebody else's needs. So how have you learned that, and how can you deconstruct that belief? Because that isn't true. In fact, the more you enter into connections that require you to sacrifice your needs and your value, the more that you are going to continue to not get your needs met and feel undervalued. And then you're going to build up resentment, and you're going to wonder why that person doesn't care about you, when in reality, the foundation of the connection was, I don't have needs and your needs are more important. But you've done that because that's how you've learned to receive love. So it's not that you've done anything wrong, but we have to break away. It's like peeling back the layers of an onion. Okay, if I am capable of attracting the love I truly deserve and desire, but the reason that I haven't is because I don't believe I am capable of having, sustaining, or getting to experience that love, then what do I need to know? What is this trying to teach me? What are these experiences trying to get me to heal? We have to learn to lead with the belief that you have to learn to act as if you already have all of the love that you need, so that you stop searching for it in people, and you start searching for people that align with that love that you have within yourself. Because then you'll start to understand that we actually tend to be drawn, like chemically, to the love that makes us feel the most anxious and excited. And that's actually typically because that is bringing up wounds. It's not actually that is a deep emotional connection. Because again, one thing that a lot of people forget when it comes to sustaining long-term love is that those exciting feelings, that goes away, and you are left with the sustainable connection, the sustainable or unsustainable connection that you have created. If you are dealing with emotionally unavailable people, or you're dealing with people that aren't prioritizing you, you're not going to have that connection. So when you pursue love from this place of this is exciting and chemicals are flying, then what you're doing is you're prioritizing the short term and not the long term. And you're not looking at, okay, what does Capricorn need? What do you need to feel valued, to feel loved, to feel seen, to feel heard? And how can you show up in that way for yourself? All right, what else does Capricorn need to know moving forward? What else does Capricorn need to address to change this cycle? Capricorn, you don't trust much, do you? Trust issues. Okay, I think that's natural. And I think that comes from this getting screwed over, right? You're not going to trust people if you've been taught that you can't trust people. But I want you, because everything's a mirror. Everything is a direct reflection of us. And I want you to understand that I'm talking about these things because I've been there. I have a big part of my spiritual journey has been about learning how to give and receive love in a healthy manner, and what that really means and what that really looks like, so that I can have it and sustain it in my life. And I've been in that place where I didn't trust anyone. I was angry toward pretty much all men. I was like, you can't trust anybody. They all screw you over. When in reality, I didn't trust myself. I didn't trust myself to make the best decisions for myself in love. I didn't trust myself to attract the right kind of people. I felt like my picker was broken. I was always attracting people that would hurt me or would leave me or whatever the case would be. And I looked at myself as a victim for a really long time. And there were certain situations, like I said, in emotionally abusive relationships where I was a victim. I was experiencing, being on that kind of end of things. But again, when we focus so much on what other people do to us, we are not focusing on what is within our control. And I can tell you with a 100% certainty, you are capable of attracting the love that you truly desire. You can have that. Like, there is not a shadow of a doubt that you can have the love that you deserve and desire. But I bet when I say that, the first 50 thoughts you have are all of the reasons why you can't. And those reasons right there are the reason why you haven't attracted it in the first place. And all of those things are a result of trauma. So they're not your fault. And it's not your fault that you have been in your own way when it comes to attracting the love you truly deserve and desire. But if you don't trust yourself to open up to the right people, how are you going to trust other people to open up for you? We have to learn that we have to learn to recognize when we are being loved well versus when we are being desired. being desired and having attention directed towards you, that is not love. That is desire and attention. That is very surface level. Connection and love is formed from this place of trust and knowing that that person is going to be there for you and that you can show up for them just as much as they show up for you. And you are capable of having that, but you have to learn to get picky about it. Because if we're accepting the love that is so much less than what we deserve, and we're trying to change people, and we're, pushing away that love that is good for us, but then chasing the love that isn't, well then at some level we have to take a look at saying, okay, what's going on? What is it? What within me is resisting my ability to be loved in the way that I deserve and desire? Because that is the only way to open yourself up to really, truly experiencing it. The universe has this Wheel of Fortune. The universe is saying, we want you to be loved in the way that you desire. That can happen. That change absolutely can take place. But this cycle, it has to close. All right, what else does Capricorn need to know moving forward? The Death with the Lovers. Literally, this, oh my gosh. Okay, so it's funny because you have the Death and the Wheel of Fortune, right? Death and Wheel of Fortune right here. Except for the Wheel of Fortune's in reverse. The cycle is the cycle of not knowing your value and not knowing that you deserve to be valued by people who know how to show up for that value. Because what keeps happening, this is the cycle of things falling apart in love, things not going your way. This is the cycle that is trying to close so that Wheel of Fortune can get flipped on its head and things can work out for you. But there's this feeling that you are, you're looking for love in people, that you're looking for them to prove to you how valuable you are, instead of knowing how valuable you are and only allowing into your life the love that does truly value you. Because we don't attract love with the way that we look or the clothes that we wear or the car that we drive. That's not how you attract genuine connection. You attract genuine connection by showing up authentically as you are and learning to love yourself fully for who you are authentically. It is about, your relationships will always be a direct reflection of your relationship with yourself. If you are looking for other people to make you feel valuable and make you feel lovable, you will always attract people into your life that make you feel undervalued and unlovable, right? I've said that a couple of times in this reading. So diving into these things and asking yourself these questions of, what are these failed relationships trying to teach me? What is trying to be healed through these connections, and how can I learn from these what my role is so that moving forward I can show up with a different energy in my life? Because if you are showing up with the same energy and you're doing the same things and you're attracting the same people the same way, you are going to continue to experience the same outcomes. There's nothing that is going to change if nothing changes, right? Nothing ever changes if nothing ever changes. So understanding that you can have the love that you truly desire. There's just a pretty major cycle, and if I had to guess, this cycle is probably a pretty major component of your life's purpose, what you're here to learn and how you're here to grow. So of course it's not easy, and of course these things are painful, and of course it's not so black and white, right? Yes, I can read the energy all day long. I know that I'm not you, I'm not living your experience, but I can tell you from my personal experience in attracting the love that I've always dreamed of, is that these are the things that I've learned, and this is how I've changed myself. Because the best thing I ever did for myself was answer the question, would I date me? Would I be in a relationship with me? Not just the way that I look, the car that I drive, the level of success that I have, because that used to be how I viewed would people date me. But I learned, would I date me in terms of how vulnerable am I? How honest am I? How open am I? How willing to show up for the other person am I? And when I was willing to, kind of look at those things, I was like, you know what? I would date me. But I'm also going to only attract people that are going to show up with that same energy. So I both had to learn to show up with the right energy to attract the right energy. And that's what these readings are going to be about. So we're going to hop on over to the extended. In this extended, I'm going to focus on what you can do in order to attract the love you're truly deserving of. This is what you need to know. So this is kind of focusing on practical steps as you move forward. Thank you so much, Capricorn, as always, for your support of my channel. I do hope, obviously, that this reading helped and resonated with you in a way that you were needing today. And as always, Capricorn, I wish you nothing but love and healing on your journey moving forward. All right, bye, Capricorn.